Hello, my friend. Oh, getting a call from Placentia Yorba Linda Unified School District as I speak. Look at right there. How funny is that? Hello, my friends, on this first day of school for the Placentia Yorba Linda Unified School District. Happy to be with you here on this Tuesday, August 30th. We're going to be talking about candidate news and a little bit about law enforcement. But I have a few things I want to tackle first. And one of them is I was asked earlier today, why vote PYL vote? Why did you have vote on there twice? And the reason is because it's that important. It's one thing to say, hey, vote. And people go, yeah, I'm going to vote. But when I say vote, I'm saying vote PYL, vote. That second vote actually should be larger than the first one. And it is mandatory. One of the problems that we have here in California is that people have, in some ways, given up in thinking that it's not possible for parents who care about their kids and members of the community who care about crime, who care about businesses, who care about cleanliness of our communities, that they just have given up. Look at Los Angeles and San Francisco, and I can even go into other states like Portland and Seattle, that obviously people who care about crime, not crime being good, but crime being bad, and homelessness and all this stuff have just really given up. There is no possible way that there are enough people who love the homelessness and the fecal matter in the streets and the urine smell and carjackings and poor school grades and poor school standards, that there's enough of them that they continue to win. No, it just seems that it's quite possible that they have simply given up and think that their vote doesn't count. It counts. You got to get in there and you got to vote. And so that's why I decided to call this show Vote PYL Vote, because it's that important that I say vote twice to really convince you that you need to just get off your duff and go out and vote. Do not do the mail-in. Don't take any chances with somebody else that's going to deliver your vote to the right place. That's not what you need to do. You need to go to vote. The last election we had here, I went to the library and I voted. I walked in there and I pushed the little buttons and I got my receipt and I got my sticker that said I voted. And that's important. And that's why I decided to call this show Vote PYL Vote. Again, the PYL area is not just Placentia, not just Yorba Linda. It also encompasses parts of Fullerton, Brea, and did I say Fullerton? Oh, Anaheim. I messed Anaheim. Sorry. I should remember Anaheim because I was a cop in Anaheim for 21 years. And so that's what that little map is. Oops, I should, right there. There's that little map is of the PYL area, which includes all those areas. All right. So we're going to be talking about, of course, a lot about Yorba Linda because that's where I live, and Placentia, because that's where my kids go to school. But I want you to also know, and if I forget about you guys in Anaheim, Brea, and Fullerton, I am sorry, but I hope to be doing more. I did a video, a pre-taped video in Fullerton over at the Pearl area of Fullerton. It's really important to get some people. I need some Spanish speakers. I need some people in that area to join me as roving reporters, to be out there and to be talking about those people, what it is that they care about and what it is that they that we need to know about what it is that they want happening in the schools and representative of them. There's areas of Fullerton and Brea and I think even Port Anaheim that are just simply not getting represented in the PYL USD, the Placentia Yorba Linda Unified School District. And so we need to hear from you and want you guys to participate in this show. All right. So with that out of the way, I want to talk about the city council candidate that's running, Ryan Bent, who is going to be running for the seat that's going to be available in the Yorba Linda City Council. If anybody knows of any seats that are available in Fullerton, Anaheim, Placentia that we need to know about, please get a hold of me and let me know. I also want to talk about the 2 school board members for the Placentia Yorba Linda Unified School District. I'm going to be talking about them every show on one level or another, and I'll be talking about them. But first, the law enforcement issue or the crime issue, depending how you look at it, needs to constantly be on the ballot, and it constantly needs to be something that everyone is aware of, because we have some lunatics in some of these areas that really believe that law enforcement is bad, criminals are good. And we need to really, that's kind of like thinking that teachers' unions are good, and parents are bad. That it obviously is not true. Parents are fantastic and amazing and good, that care about their kids and the education of their kids, that want their kids to learn how to read, to write, to count, and how to think. Teachers unions don't even really care about teachers that much, and I'm not sure what it is they care about. They care about the money and care about power is really all they care about. So when we look at law enforcement, we have to bring back the common sense policy or idea that police are good to have. Not all police officers are fantastic. You're looking at one, not one that wasn't fantastic, I hope, but one that knows law enforcement. I know, because I'm still involved in law enforcement in many, many ways. And I know that there are a few that are bad. It's like any business. There's some bad teachers, there's some bad doctors, there's some bad attorneys, a lot of bad divorce attorneys, I'll tell you that. But there's a lot there. But in law enforcement, many, many men and women that are in law enforcement are amazing and do an amazing job. Do an amazing job when you are sleeping, do an amazing job around our schools, and do an amazing job in our schools as school resource officers. So I want to bring back this really important idea. And it sounds funny calling it an idea, just common sense, that we need to be strong on enforcing crime, enforcing the laws that are on the books, and making sure that our children are safe in our community. It's so darn important. And I'm not sure why this keeps coming up, that we have to keep fighting for our police. That should be one thing that we should not be fighting for. It's like we don't need to fight for the fire department, and we shouldn't need to be constantly fighting for police, for them to be funded, to them to be supported, and not looked at as the villains. But I know that we struggle in Anaheim and Brea with some very liberal ideas that are endangering the citizens of all these communities. And so we want to make sure and always be looking at what policies are law enforcement agencies in these communities. In Yorba Linda, it's the Orange County Sheriff's Department, which is amazing. We have a great sheriff in charge of the Sheriff's Department. We got great officers and a chief. He's called the chief of Yorba Linda law enforcement or police department here, which again is Orange County Sheriff, and he's fantastic, an amazing man. And then we have Anaheim, where I was a police officer, and the history of Anaheim has been really, really good. I just know that they have some liberal policies, and we have some city council members and mayors that are in deep trouble right now. And I got to catch up on the news on what's happening there. And there's a huge shakeup over there with city council. We got to make sure when you're voting in Anaheim to bring in city council members that you're looking at their policies towards law enforcement, and making sure that they support police and support enforcing the laws, again, that are on the books, and enforcing the laws and making sure that the laws are being followed. Same thing with Fullerton and Brea, making sure that we support our law enforcement in those agencies, because we can see in these neighboring communities like Los Angeles and San Diego where that's not happening. I believe it's Los Angeles. It just dropped down to 10 homicide detectives for a city like Los Angeles. That is hardly anything. You might as well not have a homicide unit if you're dropping down to such a small number of homicide detectives, considering the amount of murders that are happening in LA. In San Diego, I shared this story a couple episodes ago, where my wife and I went to San Diego for a weekend, and from our hotel to the restaurant where we were eating, I can't tell you how many homeless people we had to walk around or step over, and the odor of that city has gotten nearly as bad as San Francisco. My wife and I went to San Francisco. I had to go out to work to do some work there, and it is a disaster. It is. I can't tell you how upset I am about San Francisco. I love that city. At least I used to love that city. I used to love going there. The restaurants, the food, everything was amazing. And now it doesn't matter where you go. It is a hellhole. And that is because of the lack of concern for, you know, taking care of the criminal element and taking care of the community and the citizens that are there, and dehumanizing the law enforcement agency there, and only caring about the criminals and making sure that they don't get arrested and incarcerated like they should be. So we want to make sure that we don't do that. You'll hear me say this a few times, that we don't want to LA our OC here in the PYL. All right, so let's make sure that that doesn't happen. Okay, I'm going to share my screen, and I want to make sure and let you know about this candidate who just announced, essentially, who's now running for city council. That's Ryan Bent for Yorba Linda City Council. For those of you that live in Yorba Linda, every one of you can vote for him. I had a conversation with him at the event that I can bring up here. We were at Leandra Blade's house where she was hosting Meet the Candidates, and you got it right there in the middle where you see Ingle and Todd Frazier signs. You got Ryan, you got Rich, Ingle, and then you can see my mouse kind of pointing there. Let me see if it used to, there you go. It didn't make it on my screen. It's big, but on yours it's not. But you have Ryan, and then you have Rich, and you have Todd right there in the middle. Those are the people that were able to speak and introduce their platforms and talk. And I wanted to show you that because that is extremely important going forward, that you as a community member can host these candidates at your home, invite your friends and neighbors over and family members that live in the community or have businesses in the community. And why not have them over there? Because it's important for people that own businesses. They may not live in the community, but have them come over, because what they can do is share the policies, and maybe even have some of their cards, candidate cards that can be in their businesses that they can hand out to the people that come and enjoy their business, and invite them to your house. Invite the candidate to your house, and they can speak and answer questions that your local community, your neighbors may have about these candidates, but especially for those the city council members, so we can really begin to boost his presence, so that people can learn more about Ryan and all that he's done for the community. If we go to Ryan's, hold on to get my mouse here. If we go back to Ryan's, this is his Facebook page. You can see more of the activity that we had there, some of the fun, and some of the people he met. There's Ryan standing in front of his, sorry about that, standing in front of a screen and speaking to others. But and there he was being handed the mic from Leandra, getting ready to speak. And so you're going to want to make sure and visit his Facebook page. All of these links are in the description for this particular show. So you're going to want to make sure and go there and learn more about Ryan. Ask him questions. You can message him. You can go to his website, which will go right here. Going to his website, you'll learn about him. Ryan Bent is former city commissioner, businessman. He was recognized by the city council for being an influential community member whose leadership has played a key role in the city's history. He has served as a city commissioner who helped plan the construction of the new library that you saw there on his Facebook page. And what else? He's a NOCCCD trustee, where he was named Community College Trustee of the Year for Orange County in 2019. Ryan previously served as vice chairman for the 20-year General Plan Advisory Committee, and so on and so forth. So go to his website. Again, the link is in the description for this broadcast. If you're watching on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, or Rumble, go there, look in the description, and just find the links for the different candidates, and you're going to find them on there. One of the important things that you're going to want to visit when you go to their websites is this button. Let's see where it's at his. Oh, there it is at the very top. Let's see, make sure you can see on the screen. Yeah, at the very top, you can see this button here for Ryan. You want to make sure and click that button and donate Running a campaign is extremely expensive nowadays. And here you can go to the page and just choose an amount. And I'm sure these guys don't mind me saying it doesn't matter the amount. Of course, if you have the ability to donate $250, $500, $1,000, that's fantastic. But just donate an amount. Anything will help as these gentlemen are running. If we go to Todd Frazier's, his button is up here. You're going to want to make sure and click on that button. And again, you're going to want to make sure and donate whatever amount it is that you can afford to donate. Any amount towards their campaign is helpful. Rich Engel doesn't have his website up yet, but he's working on it. But you will be able to go to his Facebook page and send him a message. He has an Instagram page. We see that, and he's getting up and running. So you can make sure and find a way to donate to his campaign. So important. It sounds like I'm asking you, something that's, can be difficult. It's not. It doesn't matter if you can give $1, $10. It doesn't matter. Just begin to give to their campaign. Make sure and share the links for the person that is in your area. So Rich is in area 5 and Todd Frazier is in area 4, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, area 4. If you are in the area 4 or area 5, make sure you find out which one that you are going to be supporting. Or if you have family members that live in any of those areas, make sure they know that they need to get the word out. If you can get a sign, a long sign to put in front of your front yard, any exposure to the name Todd Frazier, Rich Engel, or Ryan Bent is important. So get those yard signs, get those little cards that you can hand out to your neighbors, donate some money, and then contact them and let them know that you want to host them at your house so that you can invite your neighbors over to ask them questions. It doesn't matter if you have 5 people over, 20 people over, or like Leandra's, it was something that like 100 people came over throughout the day to Leandra's house. Invite people over so that they can ask questions and get to know these guys, all of them. I have no problem saying that if you meet any of these candidates, you will fall in love with them. You will love their policies. You'll love how much they love our kids and how important it is that they become educated, not indoctrinated. So important that you understand that there's an obvious difference. I am shocked still to this day that on occasion, I get people when I explain what's happening in the schools, and I talked about the difference between indoctrination and education, and they go, I was just speaking in Ventura to a group out there in Ventura that I got invited to. I'm not, there are 50, 60 people out there. And I brought my sons who go to school in the Placentia Yorba Linda Unified School District, which again, I will continue to say, even though we have some huge problems we need to overcome, it still is one of the better school districts in California. Maybe not the country, but at least in California. California is it's devastated by some of the worst policies out of Sacramento that could be created by a state government. It is incredible what is happening and what is going on in Sacramento. However, in spite of that, Placentia Yorba Linda Unified School District is one of the better ones. Is it the best one? No, but it is one of the better ones. We have at least two fantastic school board members in right now. We have a third that's wobbly but okay, and then we have 2 that are just completely off the charts, horrible. And so those are the 2 we're trying to replace with Rich and Todd. So understand that once we get Rich and Todd voted into those positions, we can now get back to education, get away from indoctrination. And as I was starting to say earlier, is that there are still people, and you may be one of them who's watching right now, that may not understand what the difference is between education and indoctrination. Because I will bring some of these issues up, and people will stop me at the coffee shop, or I'll see them at church, or we'll see them somewhere, and I'll say, are you aware of these things? And they go, I don't even know what that is. And you're telling me that's happening in our schools? And I'll take out my phone and show pictures of what some of the indoctrination looks like, that it's actually happening. And I'll say that, did you know that boys are being allowed to change with girls in the girls' locker room, that boys are allowed to use the girls' restrooms? Do you know that that's going? And they go, no way. And how do you not know this is going on? And going on. What I was talking about with my boys going with me to speak at this event in Ventura, in Simi Valley, is that I had slides and had pictures that I've shared on my personal Facebook page a number of times just to bring the people's attention. And the people, although we are very similar in our thoughts of where our country needs to go and what needs to be done as far as fighting against some of these policies, it's one thing to hear me talk about it and to show pictures, but many people there, even though they, again, are like-minded, went to my sons. One son goes to El Dorado, and the two other sons go to Golden Elementary, and they would go, "Hey, your dad put some pictures from your schools. Are those really from your school?" They were so shocked that those pictures actually came from the school that they had to confirm with my kids, and my kids are going, "Yeah, those pictures are from my school." And they were going, "You've got to be kidding me." And these are schools that are suffering from the same thing that we're suffering from: lack of education, lowering standards, more worried about somebody's pronouns or what gender, one of the 50 different genders that somebody has created out of nonsense. That has become more important than teaching kids how to read, write, count, and how to think. And that is the craziest thing that you need to take away from any of these shows that I'm doing right now, is that you understand that they have gotten away from education. They've gotten away from education so much that they've had to lower the standards, the grading standards, so that what it used to take to get an A is reduced down to what people used to be able would only get a C for. So if you used to get a C for the amount of work or the correct answers or showing up, and not being tardy, not being absent, that they've reduced it down to what used to get a C, you now get an A. What used to get a D now gets a B. What used to get an F now gets at least a C. They've reduced the standards. That is not the way the school is supposed to work. You should be doing such great teaching, such a great job of education, that you bring up the standards, showing that the teaching is so amazing that these kids do not struggle any longer. That is what should be happening in our schools. We should, at the Placentia Yorba Linda Unified School District, we should be fighting so hard to get good teachers doing the right thing, good teachers teaching kids how to read, write, count, and think, that they don't need to lower the standards for children to be able to move on to the next grade or to graduate. The problem is right now is that children are graduating with such a lack of education that they are unable to read at a high enough level to participate in the employment world where they're able to get a job, because they can't read at an adequate level so they can get a good paying job. They end up just barely getting by. And we can see the results of that in many of the businesses we go in when we're dealing with the low level employees that are, that we have to talk to or get directions from, or they have to count back our money, or that they need to problem solve. And then we're going in and they're going, "I don't know what they're doing. I don't know." They're going, "Wait a minute." How is this possible that you don't know how to count back change? How is this possible that you don't know how to problem solve and use critical thinking in your business or in the job that you have? How is it possible that you didn't learn this? You are an 18, 19, 20, 25-year-old kid, adult, and you don't know how to critically think. You don't know how to read properly. You don't know how to count back money properly. How is this possible? It is because they have lowered the standard to such a level that children are graduating with lack of ability to do any of the things that are necessary to be an employee that can do an adequate job. And so we need to get back to this. So I believe strongly, and I've been going to school board meetings now for a little bit over 2 years and have seen the attendance grow because parents are concerned about proper education. We've lost thousands of children out of our schools because parents have decided to homeschool their kids or put them into a church school or a private school of some sort. So we've lost thousands of kids. Of course, they're screaming about a teacher's shortage, but wait a minute. In the country, they've lost 2 million students that we know of. Some students have just disappeared, right? But 2 million at least, probably more if maybe look at the stats now. I bet you it's probably closer to 3 million. And and now they're complaining about a teacher shortage. But wait a minute, if there's over 2 million students that are out there, wow, how many teachers must be fed up with the fact that they can no longer teach because they're not being allowed to teach. They're being told to do something else. And so it's no wonder that we have a teacher shortage. But I bet you it's balancing out because we have millions of children that are no longer in our schools. We need to pay them more when they educate, and we need to have some type of incentive. So if teachers are adequately teaching kids and their grades are coming up, we should give bonuses for that. We should find a way to do that. The heck with the teachers unions. They could care less about taking care of their teachers. I mean, we hear the teachers complaining all the time that they're overworked, that they're not getting paid enough, that they have to pull money out of their own bank accounts, their own pockets to pay for things. And the teachers unions are saying what a great job they're doing. What you're obviously not doing a great job because the teachers are unhappy. The teachers are quitting. And so how is it possible that you can have all these teachers that can sometimes show up to a school board meeting supporting the teachers unions, and yet the teachers get up there on the podium and complain about how horrible their jobs are? And the teachers unions are sitting there like all proud, like, yes, if their jobs are horrible, and we're the teachers union. And I'm just like, I'm scratching my head like going, wait a minute. You got a teachers union over there talking about what a great job they're doing, and yet you have teachers up there saying how horrible their jobs are and they don't get paid enough. And you're going, but you two are supporting each other. It makes no sense. And then all you hear about how they donate to the community, but they do very little for the school that they work for. Very strange and very weird. In upcoming shows, as we move forward, I've been diving into the consent calendar and looking at some of the expenditures that the current school board, which again, essentially we have two fantastic school board members, but they're outnumbered by two that are miserable and one that's so-so. And so what's happening is many things are getting voted on and pushed through that if you knew how much money is being wasted on so much shenanigans, including online programs that are being used in the school, online training programs being used in the school that children hate, and they're not doing anything to further the education of our kids. If you realize that we're spending $630,000 on one program for 1 year, $630,000 spent on one program that's only one of several programs that are being paid for that the kids hate. All of my kids hate it, not because they're my kids. They told me that before they knew that I knew what I knew about it. And that's just one of the things. As I've been going through some of these consent calendars and what they voted through, especially the three that have voted through, it's no wonder that we're in trouble in our schools. That much of that money can be used for something that's really much better at education. Like, how about more good teachers? How about we spend it on more good teachers? Or again, we give bonuses to the teachers that actually educate their kids. There's plenty of teachers out there that are doing a great job. And I know of a bunch of them that the children love them. And at the same time, they're being educated. Their educational levels are much higher. And we should be able to take that money that we're using in programs that is really doing nothing to further our kids' education and give bonuses to the teachers when they do a good job of teaching. But again, the teachers union would block that because of who knows why. All right, my friends. So that's the update for today. We got this great candidate. Remember, go to Ryan Bent website. The link is in the description. Just go down and click on that. Rich Engel, go down into the description, click on Rich Engel's Facebook page, and Todd Frazier, go to the link and click on that. Whatever you can do to donate to any or all of their campaigns, that would be amazing. And make sure and look for opportunity either to walk the district that they're in or the area that they are, in, as far as people that can vote for them. Find out how you can do that. Find out how you can host a candidate party where you can have them over at the house. And you can show them, maybe even have them at your business and host them at your business so people can come and ask them questions about what it is that they're going to do for either the school board or the community. And those of you that live in these other areas like Brea and Anaheim and Fullerton, that neighbor, and Placentia, of course, that are in this PYL area, you do the same thing. But also reach out to me and let me know if you are interested in helping me find out more about what's happening in those communities. You can be a roving reporter or somebody that I go to that you can talk to me on this program and let me know what's going on. All right. So that's it for today. I hope this has helped you in understanding what is needed to moving forward. We only have something like, let's see, I think it's on Todd's page, how many days we have left. So 69 days left until the election, a little over 69 days and 6 hours left until the election in November. So we have a lot of work to do in a very short period of time and just a little over 2 months. All right. So let's get that done. I appreciate you guys so much watching. Make sure and share this broadcast out to your friends and family, especially those that live in the PYL area, and subscribe. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit the bell so you can get notified when we go live, or any of the other platforms. Again, we're on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, and Rumble. Go there and type in Vote PYL Vote or Andy Falco Jimenez, and you should be able to find it. On YouTube, it's the Andy Falco Jimenez, the Andy Falco Show. Sorry about that. All right, go there and find it, and I will see you on the next one. All right, my friends, take care. Talk to you later. Bye.